And welcome to demo session 2 of online coaching for UGCNET Forensic Science from Nobel Forensics. I am SowmyaGajula. And though it is demo session or regular classes, we should start with the basics of forensic science. In demo session 1, I explained about the UGCNET Forensic Science syllabus. In demo session 2, I thought of taking any one topic from the syllabus, but no, I added few topics. I am explaining about the few topics of the syllabus. And very first one is the basics of forensic science. Please off your video, Leena the kid. Manisha, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Coming to the basics of forensic science, its definition, history, terminology. The term forensic is taken from the Latin word forensis, and this is important for UGCNET. Many times, previous question in UGCNET that forensic, the term forensic is taken from the which language? It is from the Latin language. The Latin word is forensis, which means belonging to courts of justice or belonging to public discussion and debate. Then forensic science definition, simply application of science to the law. The simple definition is application of science to law, means applying the science, principles and methods of science to the legal system. So simply science means natural sciences, methods and principles of natural sciences like physics, chemistry, biology, geology, that all principles and methods applying to the legal system, to the criminal justice system, to solve the problems related to the legal system. Excuse me. Leena the cat, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then the simple one is the application of science to law. If you understand the single line application of science to law, you can easily understand the broad definition of the forensic science. It is forensic science is specific discipline. Forensic science is scientific discipline which is directed to the recognition, identification, individualization and evaluation of the evidence, physical evidence, by the application of the principles and methods of natural sciences. Means all about the physical evidence. Physical evidence recognizing, identifying, individualization and evaluation with using principles and methods of natural sciences. And natural sciences are physics, chemistry, geology and biology. So these all are for the purpose of administration of criminal justice system. Administration of criminal justice system means to solve the problems related to the criminal justice system, to solve the problems related to the legal system. This is the broadest definition of the forensic science. Then the term criminalistics, it is also synonymous to the forensic science, but in our India we use forensic science, but in other countries like USA they use criminalistics. The both are synonymous words. Then coming to the history of forensic science, as I said in the demo session 1, the history, there is much history about the forensic science, but that all history is not important for the UGCNET. But what is the important? The scientists, branches, how they evolved and they developed, and the laboratories, how they organized forensic science laboratories in the world and in the India. This is the actual history and development which is important for the UGCNET, and also years also very important. Then very first incident for the history of forensic science, in the middle of 19th century, science has begun to develop rapidly. But that time, what happened along with the development of sciences, with the development of science, crime rate also increased because criminals are using different scientific techniques, different modern techniques to commit the crimes. So this was very difficult to criminal investigators to do investigation for that crimes. So in the same time, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, with using a fictional character Sherlock Holmes, he was started writing the fictional stories with solving crimes. Solving crimes with the scientific methods like using fingerprints, trace evidences to detect the crimes. That his fictional stories was helped the scientists to do investigation process with the scientific techniques, with using scientific techniques. And here important things are Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. As I said, he is the fictional story writer. He was the fictional father of forensic science. He was named as fictional father of forensic science, and he belongs to the country Europe. So that most of the pioneering work, most of the developed work in the forensic science was came out from the Europe country. That is what I said. So most of the pioneering work in the field of forensic science originated from the Europe, because Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was belongs to the country Europe. Then different scientists. There are many scientists who are involved with the forensic science, but here I added few scientists. Matthew Orfila, he was the father of modern toxicology, because he discovered different methods for analysis of poisons, which are even using for today. That he was father of modern toxicology. Then Alfonso Bertillon, he was discovered a method for the personal identification, and that was the first method for the personal identification, which is anthropometry, based on the body measurements. Okay, Alfonso Bertillon, he discovered anthropometry, which is for the personal identification based on the physical body measurements. And that method was also known as anthropometry, Bertillonage system, portrait parley. Then Francis Galton, he was the father of fingerprint study, which is dactyloscopy or dactyloglyphics. Francis Galton, he was discovered basic classification for the fingerprints. Then Hans Grass, he was author of a book which is criminal investigation, and in that book he was explained about the science, how science will help to the criminal investigator. Then Edmund Locard, he was father of modern forensic science, and he was also father of poroscopy. Poroscopy is the study about sweat pores present on the finger ridges. So he discovered poroscopy, so that he became the father of poroscopy. And also Edmund Locard, he was proposed a theory of mutual exchange, or principle of mutual exchange, which is also known as Locard's principle of exchange. And that was the major principle in the forensic science for analysis of evidences. Then Karl Landsteiner, he was discovered blood groups like ABO. Then after Karl Landsteiner, Dr. Leonie Lattice, he was discovered a method for the grouping dried blood stain. And you know the difference between wet blood and dried blood. Dried blood is, we may not easily do grouping test for the dried blood. So Dr. Leonie Lattice, he was invented a method which is lattice crust method, which is we can easily group the even dried blood. Then Calvin Goddard, he was the father of ballistics, because he invented comparison microscope, which is useful for the comparing test and fired bullet, and that was the major useful thing in the ballistics, so that he became the father of ballistics. Then Albert Osborne, he was father of documents, question to document examination, because of Albert Osborne's work, that question documents are accepted as evidences in the court. Then John Larson, he was invented lie detection techniques and used for the first time. Then Alfred Nobel, he was father of explosives, because he discovered dynamite, which is an explosive. Father of
Ma'am, could you please repeat that answer?
Okay, Alfred
Okay.
Nobel was father of
Father of?
explosives, because he discovered dynamite.
Okay.
Then coming to the, I only added Edmund Locard separately because he was very important for the UGCNET, and he was Frenchman. This was a previous question in UGCNET, that Edmund Locard was belongs to which country? France. He was a Frenchman, and he was also a criminologist. Then he discovered principle of exchange, also known as the theory of mutual exchange, also known as Locard's principle of exchange. This is also many times repeated question. They may ask differently about this principle, who was discovered, who was invented, who was proposed. Then according to this principle, when two objects come into contact, there is always an exchange of material, and this was the major principle for the analysis of the for the criminal investigation, for the crime investigation. Then for example, if a person treading loose ground, then he leave his shoe print there, and also he carries some amount of soil on his shoes, so there is an exchange. He's leaving his footprint there, and also he's carrying some amount of soil, so there is an exchange. This has happened in every contact, almost in every context. And again, a criminal may be succeed in avoiding being seen or heard, but cannot avoid coming in contact with his environment. If I touch a table, then I leave there my fingerprint, and also I collect some amount of dust from that table. That is what contact. That is what exchange of material. Then, as I said, Edmund Locard, he was father of poroscopy. He discovered poroscopy. Then coming to the crime scene. And crime scene, it is the simple definition of crime scene is a place where a crime or criminal act occurred, where a crime reported or crime occurred or criminal act was occurred. And also crime scene, but not just the place where crime occurred, but also where the physical evidences related to that particular crime are found. That is also a crime scene, because not every crime scene is limited to one scene. It may be extended to one or more scenes. That is primary crime scene, secondary crime scene, and so on. And that is physical evidence is found at crime scene. Major physical evidence is found at scene of crime or crime scene. And preservation of crime scene, I just added basic points. Preservation of crime scene is done by the first responders. Who are the first responders? Medical persons, fire persons, or police persons. That three are the first responders of crime scene, and their first duty is preserving the crime scene. But before preserving the crime scene, if there is any victim or any person in the crime scene, if they need in the medical assistance, then providing the medical assistance to the person, then preserving the crime scene. And these police officers, medical persons, and fire persons are the first responders at the scene of crime. That is also a previous question. Then for the crime scene recording, recording is useful for the further investigation of the crime. And there is 4 methods for the recording of scene of crime, and that 4 are very important. None were substitutes for the another. That 4 techniques are note taking, sketching, photography, and videography. And this note taking should be from the first step of the crime scene analysis and processing to the last step. Then sketching, photography, videography are in the when crime scene in the undisturbed form, then taking photographies, videographies, and sketching. Then collecting the physical evidences. This is also a previous question. I mostly added only important and previous questions. Then search methods for the evidences. Physical evidences present at the crime scene. For that, for collection and for identifying and collection of the physical evidences, we use basic methods. These are the basic methods for the searching physical evidences, which are link method, strip method, spiral method, zone method, wheel method, and grid method. These are the 6 methods. And link method, link method means linking one evidences to the other evidence, one evidence to the other evidence. For example, if there is a blood stained knife in the crime scene, then immediately investigating officer, he go and search any, there is any injury on the victim body, means one evidence, that knife is linking the injury. And also if there is any gunshot wound on the victim's body, then searching for the fired cartridge case at the crime scene, means that gunshot wound is linking the fired cartridge case. That is what link method, one evidence linking the other method, that is link method. And this strip, spiral, wheel, and grid methods are common methods to search. And the zone method, zone method is mainly useful for the largest crime scenes. Then first dividing crime scene into different zones, then again in the individual zone following the strip, spiral, wheel, and grid methods. This is also a common question in the UGCNET. And spiral method is also known as universal search method, because spiral method is suitable for any type of crime scene. Then there is 2 types of crime scenes, indoor crime scene, outdoor crime scene. Simply indoor means crime which has happened under the roof, inside the building or under the roof. Then outdoor means at the open area, in the open area. These are the 2 basic types of the crime scenes, indoor and outdoor. Then coming to the other type, conveyance crime scenes. Conveyance means happened in the vehicles, that illegal trafficking of the goods, that type of crimes, that are called conveyance crimes. Then sometimes there is no crime scene at all in cases of forgery documents. In document cases, there is no crime scene at all. The document itself helps as a crime scene. The document evidences in the if it is a case of forgery, like bank check, then the signature, the forged signature itself helps as a physical an evidence. So investigating with that single document only, that is helps as a crime scene. In case of pickpocket cases, there is no crime scene. So even there is some crimes there that they doesn't have any crime scene at all. Then physical evidence, that every evidence comes under the physical evidence, which can prove or disprove a point which is under the investigation. Prove or disprove means, yes, as I said, if there is a blood stain knife in the crime scene, then blood stain with proper collection and packaging, they send to the laboratory. Then they do analysis for the blood, whether blood, then blood grouping, then DNA analysis. Then they will get one DNA fingerprinting. Then as the same way, they investigating officer, they send suspect blood sample also. Then if suspect blood DNA fingerprinting is matching with the crime scene DNA fingerprinting, then that physical evidence is proving a point under investigation. But if that suspect blood is not matching with the crime scene blood, then that is disproving a point which is under the investigation. That is what which can prove or disprove a point which is under the investigation. That is physical evidence. Everything comes under the physical evidence, but it should have some physical or material quality like dimensions, length, breadth, depth. That is, it should have some physical or material quality. And coming to the different types of physical evidences in the crime scene, there are fixed evidences or movable evidences. For example, movable evidences, most of the evidences comes under the movable evidences like hairs, fibers, glass pieces. We can easily move them, means we can easily collect and pack them in the crime scene. But some are fixed evidences like blood stains on the wall, blood stains on the floor, fingerprints on the table. That are fixed evidences. They need some other techniques to lift them, some other techniques to develop and collect them. For example, as I said, fingerprint on the table. If table is little one, means small table, then we can, as it is, send with proper packaging, send to the laboratory. But if it is immovable, like on the fixed wall or large object, then collecting separately with the other methods. For example, if there is a fingerprints on the knife, then no need of developing the fingerprints and collecting. The knife itself is collected and properly packed and sent to the laboratory. So if movable evidence or else the evidence is present on the movable objects, then sent to the laboratory as it is. Then if fixed evidence, then definitely with other techniques they need to collect and send to the laboratory. Then that physical evidence, main use of physical evidence is it establish a link between crime and victim, and also crime and perpetrator. For example, and also victim and perpetrator, the link between victim and perpetrator. If a girl was sexually assaulted, then he was with self defense, he used to bite him. So there is a bite mark. That bite mark can link the victim and perpetrator. The bite mark itself helps as a physical evidence. So that is what linking between crime and victim, crime and perpetrator, and victim and perpetrator. Then legal sections. There is a mainly IPC, CRPC, and IEA. Then is other things also. And IPC, Indian Penal Code, which was enacted in 1860. Then CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, which was enacted in 1872. Then IEA, Indian Evidences Act, which was enacted in 1973. And these are also very important. That years also important. And to learn the legal sections in these three, there is two methods to learn. First method is getting PDF of material, PDF or any material of that all IPC sections, all CRPC sections, all IEA sections at one place, and learning all sections one by one. That is one method. But the second method was very easy one. That is learning the sections in individual topic. While you are learning about the sexual offenses topic, then you can learn the sections related to that sexual offenses. Like 375 IPC is a definition of rape. Then other sections 375, 376 punishment for rape. So you need to learn not just section and definition, but also the related topics. So if you learn these sections in that particular topic, you can easily learn. For example, 299 IPC is per from 299 IPC to 310 IPC, that all related to the murder and death. So and this one 304 BIPC, that is dowry death. For dowry death, 304 BIPC. And as the same way 498 AIPC, that is also related to the dowry death, like torture to the woman in case of dowry death. So there is a distance between the 304 BIPC and 498 AIPC. But if you learn that things in the topic of murder, then you can easily learn them. And also 113A and 113B Indian Evidences Act. That two sections also related to the dowry death. See, there is very gap between that all sections. But if you learn that all sections topic wise, you can easily remember for the longer time. But these all sections are there in the unit 1. But I will cover it in the unit 1 also, major sections, and also in the individual topic I'll cover all sections. Then Nobel Forensic, which here I'm covering few topics. And after this demo session 2, I will send you a quiz based on the topics which I covered in this demo session 2. You just attempt the quiz so that you will get an idea about my quiz also. And I added explanations also in the quiz. Then topic blood. Blood is usually it comes in the serology. And there is nature of blood is also important for UGCNET. So I added basics of blood also. Blood is 8% of body weight. 8% of body weight is blood. Then it contains WBC, white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets, enzymes, proteins, inorganic substances. Then it contains WBC, RBC, platelets, and other things. But forensically important is the WBC, because DNA is very important forensically for individual identification, and DNA is present in nuclear cells, and nuclear means only WBC. White blood cells are having nuclear, so only nuclear DNA present in the WBC. Forensically important one WBC, but other also important forensically, but main one is the WBC, white blood cells. And this is also important. Plasma and serum. Blood is divided into plasma and serum. Plasma means blood without cells. If blood without cells, that is plasma. And serum means blood without cells and fibrin. Fibrin means clotting agents. That is serum. This is also previous question. Then WBC, here I added one point. In white blood cells, there is different cells again in the WBC. One type of cell is neutrophils. Neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, and one is neutrophils. In neutrophils, that too in female neutrophils, there is a specific body present. That is called Davidson body. Davidson body is present only in the female neutrophils of WBC. And with this Davidson body, we can identify the gender from the blood. This is one important one forensically, and this is also a previous question in the UGCNET. Davidson bodies present in, that is the question. They just added neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil only. They not added any female neutrophil, but it is in the female neutrophil. And along with the Davidson body, there is F bodies and Bohr bodies. F bodies are present in the male blood. So with F bodies, we can identify gender, and also Bohr bodies. Bohr bodies also present in the females. So with the Davidson body and Bohr bodies, we can identify the female sex, and with the F bodies, we can identify the male sex. Then blood collection. If blood is wet, if blood is dried, then using scraping, then we can, as it is, collect and pack them. But if blood was wet, then dry under the shade. If blood was wet, collecting with the swabs, cotton swabs, then dry under the shade to prevent the putrefaction. Because with the blood, if blood was wet still, with within the packing, if blood was still wet, then there is growth of there is a chance of growing microbial organisms, so that it will get putrefaction. So to prevent putrefaction, it should be dried under the shade only. Dried under the shade only, not in sunlight or under the fan, not in any oven. It should be dry in shade only. And this is also many times previous question. Use cotton swabs or scraping, then dry in shade and place in a glass container with suitable, if required, suitable preservatives. But mostly in the cases of poisonous cases, toxin cases, no preservative should be added. Then blood pattern analysis. Along with the blood pattern analysis is also very important at the crime scene. With blood pattern means blood shapes at the crime scene, blood stain shapes at the crime scene. That is also useful for the crime investigation, because they can help to find the angle of the blood stain. I mean, angle, distance, source, force applied, volume of blood, direction of the force, and also sometimes type of injury. These all will be able to find from the blood pattern analysis. And there is also a few questions from the blood pattern analysis. Blood stain shape. If blood was fall in an angle, what is the shape of blood? That is a previous question. It is the exclamatory shape. Exclamatory shape. We usually see it in our walls, that exclamatory shape. Blood is also in the same shape. That is a previous question in fact exam. Then age of blood stain. Here, age of blood stain, not age of person. What is the age of blood stain? You know that fresh blood is in the bright red color, but when it is after 12 to 24 hours, it becomes brownish red color. Then after a few days, few weeks, few days to few weeks, it becomes a blackish color. So with passing time, it can change its color. So that is what age of blood. With the color of the blood stain, we can estimate age of blood, and that helps in the criminal investigation, how to identify the date of crime. Like if the blood stain age was 3 days old age, then the crime could be happened before 3 days. That is what help from the age of blood stain. Then sex and age of the person from blood stain. Age of the person is sometimes only possible, like a very young person blood or very old person blood, with hemoglobin variants, with identifying hemoglobin variants. But sex is possible because nuclear sex is possible with identifying X and Y chromosomes, and also, as I said, Davidson body, F bodies, and bar bodies, we can identify sex. Then age of the person, you know that as I said, WBC is only the source of nuclear DNA because nucleus is present in WBC, but RBC also having nucleus, but when it is in the fetal stage, fetal baby blood is having nucleus in their RBC, but when baby was born, up to 24 hours only RBC contain nucleus. So if that blood, any blood stain is having nuclear RBC, then that is belongs to fetal blood or 24 hours old baby blood. Then blood examination. There is presumptive test and confirmatory test to identify whether that was blood or not. Presumptive tests are phenolphthalein test or Crystal-Mayer test. It gives purple color, purplish color. Then Benzidine test. It gives blue color with the presence of blood. Then leucomalachate green test. It gives greenish color. Then Guicam test. It is also give deep blue color. Then luminar test. This is also preliminary test or presumptive test. Then fluorescein assay. These all are presumptive tests. Then coming to the confirmatory test, which are crystal tests. There is only two confirmatory tests for the blood: Hemin crystal test or Teekman test. Then hemochromogen crystal test or Takayama test. These also important. They may ask like questions: which of the following is a confirmatory test for blood? Which of the following is a presumptive test for blood? Then they may also ask sometimes color reaction of that test. They also sometimes ask what are the reagents added in that particular test. These all are the previous questions. So use previous questions as model questions for preparation. Then origin of species testing for the blood. After confirming the stain as blood stain, then going for the species testing, origin of species testing. That there is three tests I added here: precipitin tube method, double diffusion or double immunodiffusion, then crossover electrophoresis. These are the tests for origin of species. Then blood grouping tests. Lattice crust test was by Leone Lattice. As I said in the previous slides, Leone Lattice, he discovered lattice crust method for grouping dried blood stains. Then other methods are absorption elution and absorption inhibition. Then blood group systems. You know that ABO blood group, MN blood group, RH blood group. As the same way, there is more than 150 blood groups, and that all are divided into 5 blood group systems, which are forensically helpful for the identification of sex, race, age. And here added that 5 blood group systems: red cell antigens, white cell antigens are HLA system, serum protein polymorphism, and red cell enzyme polymorphism are cellular proteins. Red cell antigens means that antigens present on the red cells, RBCs. That fifth one, hemoglobin variants. These 5 are classified based on some properties. Like red cell antigens means that antigen present on the red cells, RBCs, like ABO, RH, MN. These are comes under the red cell antigen. Then white cell antigen means antigen present on the white cell, WBC, which is also known as HLA system, human leukocytic antigen. Then serum protein polymorphism. Look at the third one and fourth one. Serum protein polymorphism and cellular protein means third one is based on the proteins present in the serum, and fourth one is based on the present of proteins inside the cell. Proteins in the serum, proteins inside the cell. And the fifth one is the hemoglobin variants. There is 4 variants in the hemoglobin: HbA, HbF, HbS, and HbC. HbA means HbA, adult hemoglobin. HbF is fetal hemoglobin. Then HbS is the sickle cell anemia. Then HbC is the mild hemolytic anemia. And these are the 5 blood group systems. And there are different blood groups under this systems, and their phenotypes also asked, like Duffy system, Kidd system, Kell system. The previous question is Duffy system's phenotype. What is the phenotype of Duffy system? Which is F by A and F by B. F by A and F by B. Then coming to the next topic, toxicology, poisons. I added few things only in the poisons. Poisonous plants. I just added poisonous plants. Different plants used in crimes, which have different active principles or active constituents, and they are commonly classified based on their physiological system or physiological effect. Then there are somniferous poisons, spinal poisons, cerebral or delirium poisons, cardiac poisons, irritant poisons, and miscellaneous plant poisons. For example, irritant poisons, Calotropis gigantea, Ricinus communis, they are irritant poisons. And Calotropis gigantea, or Calotropis gigantea, that is usually used as abortifacient, and that is also irritant poisonous plant. Then cardiac poisons means they show the poisonous effect on the cardiac system, means heart. So in that cases of cardiac poisons, heart should be collected as sample for the analysis, and this is a previous question in UGCNET 2020. Then spinal poisons, they show poisonous effect on spinal cord means in case of spinal poison, spinal cord is the sample should be collected for the analysis. For example, cardiac poisons are digitalis purpurea. Then this spinal poisons, strychnus nuxvomica is the example for spinal poisons. And active principles of strychnus nuxvomica are strychnine and brucin. Both strychnine and brucin are the active principles in the Strychnus nuxvomica. That is also a previous question. Coming to the irritant poisons, I said that Ricinus communis, the common name is castor oil plant. Castor plant or castor oil plant. The previous question is, what is the active principle of castor plant? The botanical name for castor plant is Ricinus communis, and its active principle is ricin. Ricin is the active principle for the castor plant. That is also previous question. Then coming to the ballistics. Ballistics, it's about the study of firearms, ammunition, and also the problems which are arising with the use of this firearms. And firearm definition is, it is an instrument. A firearm is an instrument which discharges a missile. Missile means either bullet or pellet, which discharges a missile by the expansive force of the gases which are produced by burning of a substance. Substance means here gunpowder. Gunpowder. With burning a gunpowder, then the bullet or pellet will discharge out with an instrument. That instrument is firearm. Then Calvin Goddard, he is father of ballistics because he invented comparison microscope, and which was very useful for the comparison of test and fired bullets in the ballistics. Then other scientists, Alexander John Forsyth, he was father of percussion ignition. And this is a previous question. Who is the father of percussion ignition? Is Alexander John Forsyth. Then Roger Bacon. Roger Bacon or Roger Bacon. He was, I don't get anything about, Roger Bacon, he was a story writer. In his writings, he used the composition of the black powder. He used the composition of the black powder, but I didn't get about that he was manually used or not. But in his stories, he was the first person to use about the composition of the black powder. Then John M. Browning, he was the wizard of modern firearms. Wizard of modern firearms. And these four are the important scientists in the ballistics.
Who? Sorry, can you repeat the last two one?
Roger Bacon.
Robert Bacon and John
M. Browning. Roger Bacon, he was used about the composition of black powder in his writings. Then John M. Browning, he was the wizard of modern firearms. Wizard of modern firearms. And these four are the important scientists in the ballistics. Then firearm parts. The basic parts in the firearms are barrel, action, and stack. Any type of firearm which is mainly contain barrel, action, and stack. And this is a revolver. Then barrel. This portion is the barrel. Then action. This is the action part. Then this is the stack. These are the main and major parts of any type of firearm. Then ammunition. Ammunition includes propellant. Propellant means gunpowder, black powder, any type of gunpowder. Then primer. Primer means it is the back side of the cartridge case, and I'll explain about the cartridge case. Then projectile. Projectiles, you know that here I'm not added that. You know that two types of firearms, either rifles and shotguns firearms. Rifles means they have rifling in their barrel, but in the shotgun there is smooth barrel. There are two types of firearms, rifles and smooth bore or shotguns. Then projectiles, in the rifles there is bullets, and in the shotguns there is pellets. Then cartridge case. In case of bullets, the back part, that is the cartridge case. But in case of shotguns or smoothbore firearms, this is the cartridge case. And yeah, this again coming to the primer. Primer is the back part, last backside part of the cartridge case. And these four are the composition of ammunition. You can remember it like 3PC, 3PC. Propellant, primer, projectile, cartridge case, because many times they are asked about the ammunition, so you can easily remember like this: propellant, primer, projectile, and cartridge case. Then gun ballistics, study of projectile from the time of shooting to time of impact the target, that is the gun ballistics. There is three categories in the gun ballistics: internal ballistics, external ballistics, and terminal ballistics. Internal ballistics means you just assume that there is a bullet in the firearm. So from the time of pulling the trigger to reach it the end of the barrel, to reach the bullet end of the barrel, that is the internal ballistics. Means when bullet was inside the gun, inside the barrel, inside the gun, that is the internal ballistics. Then external ballistics means from the time of it was releasing from the barrel to reach its target, that is the internal ballistics. When the bullet was in the air, that is the external ballistics. Then terminal ballistics, when it reaches the target, that is the terminal ballistics. Then again, terminal ballistics is two types: transitional ballistics and wound ballistics. Means when the target was when target was the tissue or any person, that is the wound ballistics. Any other object, then that is transitional ballistics. These are the three categories in the gun ballistics: internal ballistics, external, terminal. And in the syllabus they added just basics of the gun ballistics, basics of internal, external, terminal ballistics. Then Indian Arms Act, it was important. It was enacted in 1959. Indian Arms Act was enacted in 1959, and under the section 2 1B of Indian Arms Act, the firearm was defined as I added in the previous slide. Firearm is any instrument which discharges a missile by the expansive force of the gases produced by burning of a substance. That is the definition of firearm. Then coming to the next topic, explosives. You know that father of explosives is Alfred Nobel, because he discovered the dynamite. And explosive, see here, explosive is a material and explosion is a process. Explosive is material which contains a fuel, oxidizer, and stabilizer. And explosion, there is again definition for the explosion, but in explosion there is gas, energy, pressure, production of gas, energy, pressure with rapid and self-propagating, that is explosion. And coming to the definition of explosion, it is extremely self-propagating transformation of unstable explosive material into stable substances by forming large amount of gas and heat. This is the definition of explosion. And explosive fuel, oxidizer, stabilizer, that is also previous question. What is the components of the explosive? Fuel, oxidizer, and stabilizer. Then there is high explosives and low explosives. Actually, explosives are classified based on different types, based on different nature of the explosives, based on the use of explosives. There are different types to classify that, but here I just added high explosives and low explosives. High explosives includes RDX, HMX, TNT, PETN. And primer is also high explosive. Just remember this thing: primer is also high explosive. Then low explosives, then just remember these four names. There is only four low explosives. Mercury formate, lead azide, lead stiffenet, tetrazine. Mercury formate, lead azide, lead stiffenet, tetrazine. And this is the many times previous question, that which of the following is not a low explosive, which of the following is a high explosive. Mostly in that question they definitely add primer, because we will easily get confused with the primer as it is a low explosive, but primer is a high explosive. And their abbreviations also important: TNT, trinitrotoluene, 2,4,6 trinitrotoluene. That is the abbreviation of TNT, full form of TNT. That is also previous question. And PETN, pentyrenyl tetranitrate. This is also previous question. And RDX, though it is high explosives, initially it was used for the medicinal purpose. It is used for the medicinal purpose. And that is also previous question in 2019 UGCNET. That which of the following high explosive was used initially in the medicinal purpose? That is RDX. Then coming to the next topic, hair. Hair, study about hair is trichology. Then hair is a class evidence, not individual evidence. It's a class evidence and usually found it in the most of the crime scenes. Then hair, it is a fibrous outgrowth of skin, grows from papillae embedded in bases of follicles of skin or dermis. It will come out of the papillae of the skin or dermis. Then there is three main parts in the hair, that is outer cuticle, middle layer cortex and inner medulla. Outer cuticle, middle layer cortex and inner medulla. And here I added structure of hair with a diagram. Cuticle, cortex and medulla. These are the three parts in the hair. See this, if you look at this, the outer layer is the cuticle, which contains scales. That cuticular cells are also known as scales, cuticular scales, which are translucent. And that is a previous question. In fact, cuticular cells are translucent. Then the outer layer is the cuticle and the middle one is the cortex and inner one is the medulla. Then there is three types of cuticular scales, which are coronal scales, spinous scales, and imbricate scales. With this, we can identify the origin of species and also we can identify the individual animal. And cortex. Cortex contains microfibrils, nuclear remnants, and pigment granules, which are nutrients for the hair. Then medulla. There is different types of medulla based on medullary index. What is medullary index? Medullary index, diameter of the medulla divided by diameter of the whole hair shaft. Diameter of the medulla divided by diameter of the whole hair shaft. That is medullary index. With the medullary index, we can identify whether hair was human hair or animal hair. And here I added this diagram. These are the different types of medulla. See, absent medulla. First one is the absent medulla, then discant medulla and continuous medulla, fragmented medulla, lattice medulla. These are different types of medulla. And based on these types of medulla, we can identify human and animal and also different types of animals. Then growth cycle of the hair. There is three main stages in the growth cycle: anagen, catagen, and telogen. Anagen, catagen, and telogen. There is fourth stage, which is hexogen, but we usually add these three stages only mainly. In anagen stage is also known as active growth phase. Active growth phase of the hair cycle is anagen phase. This is also previous question. So if you observe in this first diagram, there is hair is growing actively. In coming to the catagen stage, which is also known as transitional stage. Transitional stage, that is also previous question. Which of the following hair growth stage is also known as transitional stage, catagen stage? And in this, hair will stop growing. And then telogen stage. In telogen stage, if you observe that under the hair, there is new hair follicles growing. After the telogen stage, it again reaches to the anagen stage. So, but what happened in telogen stage? New hair will grow and it reaches to the anagen stage again. Then the old hair will shed off or fall off. So that stage is also known as hexogen stage. So main three stages are anagen, catagen, telogen stage. And also questions like the correct order of these stages. You can remember it like ACT, A-C-T, ACT, anagen, catagen, telogen stage. And also you can remember them like in alphabetical order. See, A-C-T, that three letters are in the alphabetical order. You can also remember like this, anagen, catagen, and telogen stage. And this is the demo session. I added few topics from the syllabus. Then I found somewhere this is the tentative dates of the UGCNET 2021. They added June 2021 dates and also December 2021 dates. So according to this tentative dates, the exam could be in the month of June. UGCNET 2021 could be in the month of 3rd and 4th week of the June 2021. So just assume it is in the first week of June only. Then from now you are having 5 months for the preparation: Jan, Feb, March, and April, May. 5 months. So coming to this coaching, I complete the coaching in the 100 days or 3.5 months. 100 days or 3.5 months. So remaining 1.5 month you will get for the your own self preparation and revision and doing re-revision. But one benefit with the coaching is I'll explain the topics one by one every day, so that if you learn seriously every topic one by one every day, then you can easily do revision, re-revision, and my quizzes and explanations also will definitely helps you. And this is about the demo session. And here few things to say that few students, they are personally messaged about their doubts. The how many days duration was 100 days or 3.5 months. Coaching duration was 100 days or 3.5 months, and they asked about the timings. And a few, they said they have academic classes from the 9 a.m. to 2 p.m, so they are okay with the afternoon sessions after 2 p.m. And then few said they are okay with the evening sessions. So if you are interested to take coaching, then you just message me about your convenient time. Coaching classes are starting from the January 2nd 2021. This is also, if you are asked about the date of starting, January 2nd 2021. Then few students asked about the Nobel Forensics and whether it's an institution and who are taking classes. And here there is only me, Soumya. I only will handle all units of the syllabus. And still Nobel Forensics was not an institution, and you are my first batch for coaching. Then coming, they are asked about the fees and concession. Yes, if you want a complete course, then you will definitely get concession in fees. And fees you can pay full amount once, and also you can also pay unit wise, like before starting each unit. If you want complete course also, you can also pay unit wise, like when it reaches 3,500 rupees or whatever the amount, you will get concession. Then after that you no need to pay. And this is about the fee details. And I also give you the paper one material, and give equal importance to the paper one also. I'll give some standard books and materials related to the paper one. Then along with the paper two, you also prepare for the paper one.
Yes, ma'am. Then I am asking you to just provide in some Google Drive or Google format, so everyone can access. Like whoever registered can access directly.
Okay, I'll upload it in the Google Drive and I'll share you the link.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
So when is the last date to give the names and fees?
There is no last date like that, but I'm starting from the January 2nd. If you had any doubt to join in the coaching, then you can also join the first class on January 2nd. Then
No,
if
ma'am,
you,
not the doubts. Actually, we have the classes as well as the exams is going to start by the January 4th. So it is not possible to join in the daytime. That's why I asked. So we can see in the convenient time later in the night or in the early morning.
okay.
So if we
And
upload, so we can see.
okay, I'll upload and you can see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And any more doubts? Can I end the session, or any more doubts? If you'll get any doubts, you can also message me personally in the WhatsApp or at mail, nobelforensics@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm ending the session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.